Giannis Antetokounmpo coming off the great championship run last year, having yet another great season, and they're going to obviously be a force to be reckoned with in the championship. A lot of people, including myself right now, think he's the best player in the league. Charles Oakley, who's very outspoken. We both know Oak pretty well, Rob.
I covered the Knicks when he was playing, so I know Oak, definitely. I covered him.
And he went on Slam Magazine's No Pump Fakes podcast earlier this month or last month. And here's what he said about Giannis. He's doing his thing. I was skeptical because he couldn't make a jump shot or a free throw. After what he did last year, he's won me over. He wouldn't have been a force back in the day. He would have struggled. They would make him shoot jump shots. He wouldn't be doing a Euro step to the basket. Somebody gonna knock his head off. He went. Here's the kicker, Rob. He'd come off the bench back in the day. All right. Now, I think that's ridiculous. All right, but we're gonna get to what Isiah Thomas said, the legendary Isiah Thomas.
Does Isiah and Oakley have a rub?
They're not the best of friends. Let's put it that way.
I just want to make
sure. They done had their issues. All right.
I just want to make
sure. But here's
huh?
what Isiah said. He had a good quote. I got to give it to him.
All y'all stopping with, he would be doing the same thing. So all y'all stopping with, he wouldn't dominate in the 80s. We ain't never seen no dude like this come into our league and give him his props, give him his credit. He would dog anybody in the 80s, 90s, 2000, and 30-20 when we get there.
All right, there he is, 30-20. Here's what I'll say. I get Oak's point. Now, Oak went way too far. He'd
saying he'd come off the bench, but a lot of the stuff he's talking about is not crazy. I understand what he's talking about defensively and what they would do to him.
The lane, if you just watch highlights from the 80s and 90s, the lane was clogged. They talk now, Rob, about building a wall to stop Giannis. A wall was just natural back then.
Right. You didn't have to build it.
Right. It was just there.
It was already there, right.
It was a part of the game. And when you drove, like, you would not Euro step into the lane like that. You had to be a skilled driver to get in the lane and then to finish. Okay, so you didn't have these pathways to the bucket that you have nowadays. That said, I have no question in my mind, Giannis would have been a dominant player, a superstar back in Oakley's era. I think he would have done it differently, Rob. I think he would have been primarily a post-up player. Now, he would have, shot some mid-range shots around the paint. He obviously would have used his athleticism. But he would be more of a post-up player because he's improved his jumper. He's not a great jump shooter by any stretch of the imagination. And so he wouldn't be sitting out there shooting jumpers, and you wouldn't be just gallivanting to the lane like he can do now. So that's what I'm talking about in that I get where Oakley's coming from, but make no mistake, coming off the bench, no. Giannis would have been a superstar. He just would have done it differently back in the day.
Well, I think we talk about this all the time when we compare eras. Oh, Michael Jordan wasn't a great three-point shooter. If he played today, Chris, He would be, because he would adjust his game. Greatness figures it out. That's what makes them great. The reason most people don't become great, they can't figure it out. They can't adapt. They can't make changes to their game, Chris. That is the difference. Right? You get into the big leagues, they're busting you with fastballs until you hit one. Until you show them consistently, you can hit it. Then it's like, okay, we know he can hit a fastball. Don't throw him one. Now I'm going to start throwing you curveballs, Chris. And I'm going to throw you a steady diet of curveballs until you figure it out and prove to me you can hit one. Then that's how you become great. And I do believe Giannis would have figured out what worked for him with his body, his size, his athleticism, what he has to offer. He's not the greatest skilled player. I get that, what Oakley's saying. He's not.
Right.
But you don't always have to be if you have athletic ability, Chris, and some special talent, and that's what he has.
Right. And he's got a great work ethic.
Right.
Like you can see the improvement Giannis averaged like 7 points as a rookie. You know, he's not some guy that's just totally playing off talent. All right, so no, Oak is off on that one. There's no doubt about it. And you hit it on the head, Rob. And that's why people, first of all, when they talk about Michael Jordan wasn't a great three-point shooter, or that it was a weakness. Here's the thing. It wasn't a weakness of his. It wasn't a weakness because it wasn't a big part of the game.
No, he was like everybody else. He was like everybody else during that era.
Yeah, you had some great shooters, like Bird shot more and stuff. Yeah, but most players didn't put up the three. Like you said, Jordan would have worked on it nowadays and would have became, I think, a very good shooter. He wasn't a much of a jump shooter, period, when he got into the league.
No, he was
became
a dunker,
the greatest
Chris.
Mid-range shooter we've ever seen.
And somebody said, you keep doing that. Yeah, you keep doing that. You're not going to last long, right? People hammering you. And you saw the documentary. There were no superstar calls for Jordan in the paint, Chris. He used to get hammered.
Clobbered. And here's the thing, Rob. His three-point shooting percentage is the same as Kobe's for career.
Right.
And we know Kobe wasn't a great three-point shooter, but we don't look at that as a weakness of his, right? You say, oh, he was good. He was solid, good shooter. Could hit him when he needed to, but not great. Now, I get it, Jordan, 2 of those years. Remember, the free throw or the three-point line was moved in, but still, you can't, that weakness argument doesn't hold water. But, Rob, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar told me once that if he were coming up today, he said he would play like Giannis. And I think he would have.
He wouldn't be a three-point shooter, though.
Oh, I think he would have been able to do it as well as Giannis.
Oh.
Like Kareem, if he had come up today, he would have been handling the ball. He was athletic. He's long and lanky like Giannis. And I think he would have. Did you ever see that videotape of him playing Dr. J in one-on-one?
No, I never saw that.
He destroyed Dr. J. Blocking his shot. You know, so Kareem was more than a sky hook. You know this, I know, but more than a sky hook.
But that patented sky hook, still, I say this all the time, like some of the greatest shots in the NBA, Chris, I can't believe people haven't mimicked or copied.
I agree with you on
big
that.
guys, I don't understand how other big guys haven't learned to do the sky hook. You couldn't stop it, Chris, and he was he's the leading scorer, regular season scorer in the history of the NBA. What part of that do you not like? What part do you not like?
I feel you. I don't know if dudes think it's not cool, doesn't look good. You know, they'll do a jump hook. I mean, heck, nowadays it's just, you know, they barely even do jump hooks now. I mean, they'll do some, you know, the few times they're really in the paint, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but it was the greatest shot in the history of the NBA. And like you said, it got him not only 6 championships, but he's the all-time leading scorer.
Yes.
And you would think that guys would mimic that shot. But like Kareem said it, he would play differently if he were playing today. And Giannis would play differently if he were playing back in the day.
You would adapt. You would adapt. We all know that.
Rob, my saying is the superstars of any level, or I said the superstars of any era, would be at least stars in every era.
I agree. I agree. No matter what it is, Chris, no matter who played when,
Right.
I've said before, Babe Ruth might not have hit 714 home runs, Chris, but if he was playing with his eye-hand coordination, forget about his body, forget about what he looked like and all that. In that day, most people look like that. His eye-hand coordination was special. That's why he was able to hit home runs. He would adjust. He might not hit the same number, but he would be a home run hitter. There's no doubt in my mind.
And his body would probably look much better.
Better, right. Because it would be trainers, eating right. It would be a different lifestyle, right.
No doubt.